Let's get started.
Welcome to the Financial Purpose Podcast. All opinions expressed by me or guests of the podcast are solely our own opinions and do not reflect the opinion of Life Moves Wealth Management. This podcast is for informational purposes only and should not be relied upon for any investment decisions. Clients of Life Moves Wealth Management may maintain positions in the securities discussed in this podcast. Hello, welcome back to the Financial Purpose Podcast. This is episode 67. And today we're going to have some fun. I have some fun guests on the show today. So let me introduce to my left, Kimberly Bogues. We have been friends for a couple of years. We have been networking partners for a while. Kendi Brown, we have been friends for a couple of years, networking partners as well. And today we're going to talk about all kinds of business-related stuff and the funds of working with business owners and being a business owner and then the not funds maybe and some of that stuff. So why don't we get the introductions out of the way, and then we're going to have a great conversation. So who wants to draw the short straw and go first?
Kendi, go for it.
All right. So I'm Kendi Brown. I have been a former tech executive, now turned consultant, and so I'm CEO of Kawadi Consulting. What we do is we help businesses with their operations when they're going through big growth phases. So we work from small to large, all sorts of problems, but really focusing on how to get them to the next level when they're in chaos, in overwhelm. And we do all of the heavy lifting. So we're not just a consultant giving you advice. We're actually doing all of the hard work for you, which is really special and fun for an ops ninja of my caliber. So that's me.
Nice. Well done.
Thank you.
We had a pre-conversation, and you were like, I don't know what to say. And it's like, that was perfect.
Thank you.
So,
the intro is always the hardest part, and it's so funny because you do it all the time, and yet that's the trip up. And I know so many other people feel the same. So, awkward social person in the room. So making it happen.
No, and sometimes it just feels canned because you feel like you've said it so many times that
right.
it doesn't feel sincere or real. So I love Kendi because you are my yang to my yin. And so I am founder and CEO of Flourish Business Consulting. And so I work with small business owners through the various business cycles of startup, growth, and conclusion. And the small scale is where my soft spot is because I have worked in corporate America for years and realized that I didn't want to work that hard to make somebody else a lot of money.
Yeah.
So that's where my journey began as being a business owner. And then I had that soft spot for the small businesses because I think that they often get overlooked. And so it is great to have you as a partner too for the companies that are bigger and doing the things that I don't do. So you're a great compliment, and I was really happy to get to know you.
Yeah, great. And also, well done. The fun thing about networking, like you were saying, Kimberly, is that we do this all the time. We talk about this all the time. We say what we do, how we do it, whatever, and it does start to sound kind of weird. And so it's just nice to free flow it,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, thank you both for being on the podcast today. We were hoping to have a couple more of our friends with us, but here we are. So we're gonna actually, I think it's gonna be better. I don't know, but so I want to, because both of you are in operations, both of you see business chaos. I'm on the financial side, so I see financial chaos sometimes. Sometimes everything's fine, but a lot of times things are just moving around so fast, and if they're not breaking, they're on the close precipice of such. So, talk about, like, in the operations world, what are some of the things that you run into with businesses? What are the common things, or because I think we all feel like we're fragile little flowers and we're all unique. But I think in a lot of times business in general, like, we all have the same things kind of pop up. Am I right? Am I off?
No, you are right. And it's interesting. I don't know whether it's the time of year or the moon cycle, but for me, the business owners that I'm talking to right now, they're overwhelmed.
Yeah.
And it is that they have so much going on that they know that they don't know everything and they're trying to seek out help. They also want to do it right. But at the same time, maybe some of that challenge is not having planned for it, of not having planned for that growth. Mm-hmm. So just, or being parents and, trying to be a mom and also be, working as a business owner. So I think there are a lot of factors in there, but really the thing that sticks out with me of people that I've been working with is just overwhelmed.
I mean, you hit the nail on the head in so many ways, because that overwhelmment just seeps into every facet of the business. Because, the business owner, CEO, founder, you're setting the tone, right? Your business is a direct reflection of you, especially with our solopreneurs or, the businesses that are just getting started, the 3 to 5 year mark. And then even, you'll see that reflection even baked even deeper in businesses that are, 20, 30 years in their operating cycles. And so if the CEO founder is overwhelmed, well, how does your team feel, right? Like, then that trickles down to your customers and who you're serving. And to your point of, do you have a plan? Like, what is the plan? There is so much security in the plan and knowing what you're going to do. And as everyone's looking to 2025, it's, okay, what are the investments that the business owner has to make for themselves? What are they holding their teams accountable to? What does their financial projections look like? And where are they going to find the biggest bang for their buck and for their time as they're going into 2025? That's very top of mind for everyone.
Yeah, it's very interesting that you both point to that where everybody's feeling frazzled. I was just telling Melissa last night, I was like, man, like I had a conversation with a business owner yesterday, and it was a very colorful one. And this one in particular it's the end of the year. People are wanting me to take time off, but I have to keep working. My clients, now that they have time off, they are demanding of my time because now they have time to do stuff that we've been trying to do. And everybody's stressed out, and there's all these expectations, and it's Christmas, and I haven't shopped, and I got to wrap the things, and people are coming, right? So it's like all this end of year pressure kind of boils up, right? And then it spills over, like you're saying, into the team, and then to and all that downward stuff. I'm with you. I was trying to figure out, because I have felt that too. Like my calendar has been crazy the past couple of weeks because people are trying to get stuff done, which makes total sense. But it's like, hey, I kind of wanted a couple of days off too, right? Like, but those are the bricks, right, for what we do. But how do you, with everything that we're just talking about, with that level of chaos, where are you in your respective services able to plug holes, kind of calm the waters a bit, right? Talk to me about how you do that with business owners.
Well, for myself, part of it is just talking to them and listening to them. I think part of it that they need to get it off of their chest. Mm-hmm. And so when they have that safe space to talk, that they feel better about it, and that they realize that they're not alone, because that also gives them some sort of comfort. And then just really coming up with a game plan. What are the pain points, and what can we address first? And, one thing after another, but having a plan in place and walking through that with them. And sometimes, and Kendi, you probably have this too, just after the first conversation, they're like, oh my gosh, I feel so much better. Mm-hmm. Because there's also some shame that they feel. And they realize that, okay, I don't need to feel this way. I'm not alone. There are other people. I'm not the only person that has done this or hasn't done this. And so I think that has been a big factor.
Yeah, when they're thinking about yearly planning, annual planning, it feels like you have to conquer everything and do everything and say yes to people. But there's a lot of power in no. But how you get to the power of no is having clarity of everything, which is no small feat when you're running 1,000,000 miles an hour and mm-hmm. you feel accountable to so many different people in your life. And so one of the things that I hold to is, grab a piece of paper, grab a whiteboard, put big buckets of categories out on the board, and put your fears down there, right? Call it out, put words to it. What are you actually scared? And Kimberly, to what you said was, it's incredibly intimate, right? There's shame involved because yes. you feel you're not delivering or not doing everything. Because social media will tell you can do everything every single day, and that's the biggest fallacy out there. Mm-hmm. But if you can get clarity of where your zone is and what is your focus areas, right? Put everything down on paper and then decide what is most important and where you're feeling the most anxious or where that like overwhelmment feeling is coming up.
Yeah.
And name it. Don't let it just float around in your brain. Name it, put it down on paper.
Yeah.
Well, and I love the clarity perspective because sometimes too, business owners, I find myself doing it. You're doing something and then because you feel like you should or because you always have, and then is it really adding value? Is it really driving your goals or driving the business that you want? And so part of it, like you said, the clarity, that is so important because then you realize I don't really need to do this.
Yeah. You're both stepping into the very next question that I had in mind as you're talking. So this is a two-parter. First, because both of you own your business, do you find that business owners take you more seriously because you're a business owner speaking to a business owner? Kendi?
100%. And I'm fairly new in the business world, right? I'm coming up on 2 years in February, which...
Congratulations.
Thank you. Crazy that it's only been 2 years because it feels like dog years some days. But I even be in the tech startup world where you think you are an owner, right? You're managing large business units and you're building really complex things. You don't actually get it until you are the entrepreneur and the business owner. It's a totally different game and mentality. And so for me, stepping into that space and wearing that hat now, I look at business in a totally different lens. And that's actually something that I'm building within my team. I care that whoever joins us also has been in the entrepreneur space.
Yeah.
Right. 2 of my full-time employees are also business owners. So they get it. They can sit across from you and say, I have struggled to make payroll. I understand where you're coming from. I know you have to save every single dollar, but you do have to make investments. And here's where it plays out.
Yeah.
So to that question, absolutely. It makes a huge difference with, talking with my other business owners who we're working with and saying, I see you, I feel you, I have so much empathy for what you're going through, and let's celebrate that together. But also let's go big, cool things.
Yeah.
That is
Kimberly?
I would agree. And the wearing the many hats, I think that's the part that resonates with the business owners that I'm working with, of knowing that, especially you have a team with you, Kendi. I am by choice, me, myself, and I. And so I work hands-on with every single client. And I think that they like that, but they also see that, oh, she has her admin day. She has all these things that we have. She's wearing every single one of those hats herself, or she's outsourcing or she's finding a solution for that within her business. So I do think that helps be able to resonate with the business owners and helps them feel more comfortable.
So part 2 of that question, going back to the conversation before I asked part 1, the shame part of being a business owner. And often it's not like I'm shamed because I'm a business owner, but because I don't feel like I'm where I felt like I needed to be or where I thought I would be by now, or compared to other people. So that's the question, right? I feel like, especially in the financial planning, a lot of the shame around what comes up in those conversations is comparing yourself to other people. And I'm guilty of it as well, right? And as a business owner and as a financial, somebody who is like trying to grow assets and wealth and all of that, right? Do you find that that shame is attached to some comparison piece over here that's probably unrealistic anyway? Yeah?
I would say yes and no. Everyone is comparing themselves to others, but also I think that for the business owners that I have in mind right now, as we're talking about being overwhelmed, it's things that they have done or haven't done that they feel like as a business owner they should know. And you know what? You can't know everything. I don't know everything. You don't know I mean, there are so many things that we don't know what we don't know, and it's really surrounding ourselves with professionals who we can partner with who do have those solutions. And so for the business owners that I'm thinking about, it is more of the shame of that they're doing something that they don't feel like they should be, or that they haven't done something.
So is that more of the kind of the age old working in versus working on the business? Is that where that
Yes.
problem is more rooted?
You're right. Yes.
Okay.
I'm going to take it a different direction of
Go for it.
when, especially with operations, right? It seeps into every part of the business. And when you're a business owner, you are wearing a lot of the hats, but some of the hats don't look very good on us, right? Because we have been successful in business because we're really good at a specific skill set or what we're providing to clients. But when you have to go outside of that box and wear different hats that you know don't look good on you, but you're just trying to just make it, there's those moments of overwhelm and, personal stories, right? Entrepreneurship is really hard. There has been times where I am on the floor in a ball, like definitely crying, and because you feel all of the things and you're trying to stretch and push yourself. And I relate it to going through metamorphosis, right? Of you are this little caterpillar and you have to literally break yourself down into mush and then you can rebuild. But you have to do it in every different facet of your business that you haven't needed to do before because it's either been you or you've built something that's been working. But if you truly want to grow and get to the next level, you're going to feel that pain. You're going to feel the whole set of emotions, whether it's anger, whether it's sadness, whether it's just pure desperation. But you have to fight through that and get to the next level. And so when it comes to, I think, operations and planning, I would say 90% of business owners have a plan in their head. Like this has to happen, then this happens, then the next things happen. But what we discount is our pure ability and grit and tenacity. And what are the hats that are making us not look so great and needing to find alternate solutions because we're going to find out that it's not going to go to plan. It's going to go a million different ways, but not to our plan. And that's where I feel the anxiety and the overwhelm that comes up is trying to just make it happen as you're rebuilding yourself and growing your business at the same time.
Yeah.
And do you feel like businesses have, like you said, I think that they have it in their minds what their plan is going to be. But do you feel like people are writing it down and, really having those goals and what do I need to do to even with financial planning?
I don't think so. I mean, and that's the challenge with keeping it all here is that there are times that I even, last week, on Thursday of last week, I had a meeting at my office and I was in the conference room and I got there early. So I grabbed the whiteboard and I wrote out a process that I have here, but I need to see it. And so I wrote it out and took a picture of it. And for me, that was almost like cathartic to just like get it on the whiteboard and see it and go, no, this stuff needs to go here. And then I need to do this here. Like even just to have that, I'm like, okay, well now I have a workflow. Now I can write the workflow, right? Because I couldn't do it without seeing it. And I don't think as business owners, I don't think that we free ourselves up enough to actually give ourselves times to not check the emails and not, have the door wide open, right? Sometimes the hardest thing as a business owner to do, especially when you're around a team, is to close the door and just say, unless somebody or something is literally on fire, bleeding, showing bone, that door is closed for the next 4 hours or 2 hours or whatever. Or even better, I'm not here for the next 2 days, right? And you're checking yourself into a hotel room out of the city and that's like your retreat time, right? Or you take your management team on a retreat. Right, those kinds of things, I don't know that we give ourselves enough ability because it's time, it's money. Everybody else has to commit time and money to doing that. People have to cover what you're going to drop by not being there. And oftentimes nothing ever breaks, but man, we feel like all the plates are going to come crashing down if we step out of the office for 2 hours, right? Or close our door for 2 hours. So I'm with you. I think it's the same thing with financials. A lot of times, even just getting them on paper, getting them on a whiteboard and just like, here's what the landscape actually looks like. Oftentimes it's not as bad as people think it is in their head. And sometimes, in some cases, it's not as good as they see it in their heads, right? And sometimes that can be a very humbling experience, but there's not much different in personal financial planning that doesn't come up in business finances anyway. They are often so very similar and parallel. That's why I like putting them together and overlaying them because they're so, how we behave here is as business owners on the personal side is 100% how we behave in our business. There's really, because we take the same person with us when we go. So we have the same tendencies and And I think that's strategic planning, which is nice because when the business owner wants to do it for themselves, they can hire people like you to come in and help them do it. So business owners who already work with you are lucky. What stops, in your opinion, and this is self-serving, 100%, right? But in your opinion, what are the things that stop a business owner from saying, I need a Kimberly, I need a Kendi, I need somebody to come in and help me figure X out for my business or for myself, or help me see the landscape? What stops them from doing that? Whoever wants to jump in.
A couple things that are usually the stopping blocks is the DIY mentality of, yeah, I'll get to it. I'll figure it out. No problem. And frankly, they probably will. But when you're talking about habits that you're taking from your personal life back into your business, when you're trying to set that aside and look at it from all different angles, it's really helpful to have an outside perspective. And granted, maybe you don't need a full-on ops expert, although we're very good at what we do. But even having somebody in your team or a friend just sit there and have you talk things out and ask questions and rip away those assumptions is so powerful. And so really trying to get away from the DIY mentality is a big step. If you can do that and just think about who else can help, that goes a long way. And then the other piece that I see of people making that, maybe not, but they don't always understand it's an operations problem. Marketing is really shiny. Sales is really shiny, right? Those are revenue building activities that feels like, oh, that's where I should be putting my time. Oh, I haven't made a social media post today. Like I should spend my time there. But what is missed is that operations is the one thing you can control, right? Marketing is really hard to control. There's a lot of other variables. Sales, you're working with your client.
Sorry to interrupt. Marketing, those marketing activities are often not the revenue generating opportunities that move the needles, right? Because the track on those is so long. And you're right. You can only put out into the world. You cannot control when it comes back in the form of business. With your operating plan and with your sales plan, you can.
Everything in your control.
Yeah.
Especially internal operations, right? When you're looking at cost centers in a business, when you're looking at, do you know when you should hire? Do you have data to back that up? You have the data. You just have to surface it. And that becomes your roadmap and your compass. But we often forget that even though it feels like a task list or feels like easy, internal operations is truly the one thing that is within a business owner's full control. It's just up to you to say yes to it and put the energy towards it, because it will reap dividends when you bring in volume, when you're delivering your experience to your clients. But you got to know that it's operations is lifeblood.
Would you agree? Because as you're talking, I'm thinking about my experience running business before I was an advisor. And in that business, we put a lot of focus early on into sales because nothing happens until something gets sold. So all the training went to the sales team. All of the resources went to the sales team. Vehicles went to the sales, right? We just poured money into the sales team. All the active recruiting went to the sales team. Things were sold, and then we had to go produce. And the producing part, all of those processes is often where the money falls out of the funnel and the back door because we didn't have a good enough early on. And I think early on it was easy because the company was smaller. As things grow and there's more activity, more people, that's when operations really becomes the lifeblood because I saw that it was so easy for money to just fall out. We used to say the money falls out of the back of the trucks and we can't outsell it, you know? And it's just, it's interesting how that works. So,
and they're actually building it backwards because you have to have that infrastructure piece before. Otherwise,
before
you sell, because otherwise you're not going to be able to service it. You're not going to be able to deliver those products. Companies want to grow, and that is fantastic. But if they don't have the infrastructure ready for that growth, then they have all sorts of problems because, as you mentioned, the business is coming in, but then it's going out the back door because they just can't deliver the type of the quality, either the quality product or the quality of service for those customers.
Right. And so then you're either losing good people or you're losing good clients, good customers. Yeah.
Well, operations creates clarity. And I mentioned clarity at the beginning as well, because if you want to empower your sales team to exceed their goals, they need to know what happens in operations, right? Because you don't want to outsell or sell something that's not, or be ready to pivot. Operations is going to tell you when we're going through a supply decline, but we can use machinery for another purpose, right? We need to tell our sales team that so they can be ready to pivot and adjust so they can continue to drive the business coming in, and operations then make sure that we're actually surviving the growth. And so that having clarity of all of the pieces that have to happen in the fulfillment process and in the financial process and in the client experience process, right? Operations is that lifeblood to give clarity back to leadership, back to sales, back to marketing, and that keeps all that internal connectivity together.
Mm-hmm.
And again, to your point, right, if you don't have that built, how are you supposed to drive the business, right? We're building it backwards.
Right. And the communication, because if sales is experiencing something and they aren't sharing that with everyone else, or if there is a department that is, like you said, maybe there's a product that's delayed, maybe something is they can no longer get and they have to pivot to something else. If every department doesn't understand what all of the other components are doing, then they don't have that appreciation. And really, they're not working as a whole of the company. They're just in their little silo working. And so great companies are really those that communicate and that the different areas respect what those that are supporting them are doing.
Yeah, yeah. So I think that's probably a pretty good segue into, because we're talking about the knowledge gap that's very common between departments, and sometimes that's because functions are siloed, right?
Mm-hmm.
We see that a lot in business. So sales department, operations, finance, compliance,
right.
production, whatever. It's all siloed. And there's thousands and thousands of good books on how to bust those silos and whatever, and get people working together, cross-training and all that fun stuff. But a lot of that, I think, starts, it all starts with leadership, because leadership sets the tone for the organization. And so the three of us and a couple of other friends of ours are engaged in an initiative to bring some of that education to business owners on a bigger scale. And this is an idea that we all work on. We all work in our respective businesses on educating. We all work with business owners, which is a lot of fun. And everybody on our board, we all are business owners working with business owners, or have been business owners. Like in John's case, was a business owner, had an exit, now consults business owners, right, as a partner in the firm. And so we all have that kind of thing going on. But that education piece is the hardest piece, because it involves the ability for the owner to, one, separate themselves from the business for a period of time, and then two, be able to go in and say, I had a coach who said that the most deadly words in business are, "I already know that," right? I already know that. 4 deadliest words in business. And thank you very much, Mr. Dave. Appreciate that. Stuck with me, Dave Hepburn. I love you, buddy. It's stuck with my head. I already know that. So if you can have a business owner that's going to come out and say, not have those 4 words, if they can come and say, I am opening myself up to something I don't have exposure to, or I think I do, but I need a perspective. I think that's what we're trying to do. And that comes through the Business Transition Summit that's coming to Arizona in February. We're all a part of it. We're all content deliverers at the event. So talk to me a little bit about why, number one, why you got involved with this, and it's not my fault.
We're definitely blaming you.
Ish.
Twisting my arm doesn't count? No.
Yeah.
It was only one of your arms. Your other one's fine.
The other one.
Yeah. So, why is something like this, why is educating business owners on this scale important? Why is it exciting? Why is it why would it be helpful to somebody to be able to do that? And by do that, I mean attend something where they're just going to get like fire hose crazy, good education.
There are so many components about the summit that I love. One being that it's educational.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't have service providers there. They're not being sold. They are there with peers of other business owners that they're able to learn from and network with. So I love that. I also love that it is for business owners who are looking to grow and scale, as well as business owners who are looking to exit or learn about exiting. And so there's two different tracks. And so wherever you are in your path on the business, that is going to be, they're going to leave with some great information for themselves. And thinking about, I think that we've all talked about numerous times, they wake up one day and I'm tired. I'm tired of doing this. I want to sell.
Yeah.
It's usually not that easy. It's something that they really need to plan and prepare for. So that's what excites me, that it is wide-ranging in the content that will be provided that day. And there are 3 breakout sessions, and so they can pick and choose. And if they want to go to one that is about scaling their business or one that's about exiting, they get to choose what the content is that day.
Yeah.
I mean, the summit itself, what draws me to it is it's a very concentrated, here's the view, here's the things and the questions you should be asking for us as business owners, right? Like coming from the tech startup space, right? Every conversation was about, okay, what is the value that you're going to get out of your company?
Mm-hmm.
And that's a shift that I have seen less in the entrepreneurship space is
Yes.
It's often, how do I, build my business as a lifestyle business? Or I just had it in corporate, so I'm going to go pick the harder path and build this thing because I'm good at this.
Nobody thinks it's the harder path when they jump out there. They're like, "This is going to be so great because I'm such a shitty employee.
Oh, yeah.
This is going to be amazing." And then they're
I'll get
like,
all my
"Oh
time back."
gosh,
And,
this is so hard."
It is so hard, and we get stuck in the feeling of the overwhelm and like making it work, and year in, year out, and you snap your fingers, and you're 10 years down the road.
Yeah.
And you haven't asked yourself, well, what's next? What am I actually building? Like, who am I serving through this business, 15 years down the road, or even 5 years, right? I think, especially my generation, we're looking at business as an asset.
Mm-hmm.
How can I walk into this and what is the next step? And the summit, I think, brings together all of these different perspectives and ways that you can answer that question of what's next. Whether you're just starting, a few years into business, but everything that you're building and you're growing into should have a wider look into what's next. What should you be building now that's going to benefit you down the road? And as someone who's been in business for a very long time, you're probably either tired of it. You're like, all right, I'm done. I want something new. Made my mark. I'm ready for the next thing. So, okay, how do you do that? And then 2, if you're building a legacy that you want to pass down to your family or to your employees, well, yeah, what are the options out there?
Mm-hmm.
We always hear about selling your business, but I'm coming to find out that that is only one of many options.
Mm-hmm.
And no one knows that.
No.
Mm-hmm.
And so the education piece is huge, and you get it in a very concentrated way where you can apply it to so many scenarios.
Yeah.
Which is really special.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's going to be, I attended a summit in Little Rock, Arkansas back in September, and I was, I went part as a paid participant, somebody actually there to learn, and part as I'm observing this thing because I know we're bringing it to Arizona, right? And I was really blown away by how difficult it was to choose amongst those breakout sessions, because there's 3 breakout periods, 2, running concurrent, and it was tricky, because I'm like, okay, as a business owner, I want to know this, but as a business owner who serves business owners, I need to sharpen my saw over here, so I'm gonna go there. That was challenging, but there's a lot of, some of the business owners who come in that room, they're like, somebody invited me. I don't really know what to expect. here I am. This is going to be one of those conferences, and it's not. It's not one of those conferences, right? I was really impressed with how much actionable things you really could walk out of there and implement immediately in your business. The challenge is that as the owner, I would say if you're the business owner coming to the summit, bring your leadership team with you, or your number 2 or number 3, bring them with you as well, because what happens is you're going to go to an event like this. You're going to get all this education. You're going to get really excited. You're going to be on the mountaintop. You're going to go back to work. So we're doing this summit on a Tuesday, right? So February 25th. I know we have all mixed up. I mixed up that day. We've all mixed it up. February 25th, 2025, here in beautiful Scottsdale. It will be beautiful in February in Scottsdale. I mean, it's like primo time to be here. But what happens is you go to the summit on Tuesday, you go back to work on Wednesday, you're still drunk on the, like the positivity and everything that you just decided is going to be best for your business. Now you have to relay that to your team, and you have to translate, and you have to get them excited about something, and they're going to be like, oh God, Bob just went to this seminar. He's going to be really annoying for 2 weeks. And then like things fall off, right? And so I think what will be interesting is seeing those light bulb moments throughout the day for people, right? And then most importantly, how do they actually go implement everything that they've learned, right? So you have both been working on content and where you're going to fill in. Tell me a little bit about what you're thinking for, your piece of how this education is going to be delivered on that day.
I don't know that we have it finalized, but I'm not sure what you're doing, Kendi, but I believe that I am going to be a panelist, and the segment that what things that you can do in your business for those that are growing their business to make their business more valuable for when they want to go to sell. Because there are so many things that they can do that will increase the value, or not do that decreases the value.
Right.
And then I may be moderating a segment, which I am excited about.
Yeah, fun.
So I will also be on a panel, and what I am most excited to answer and speak to and create the education about is how to apply frameworks to the overwhelm, and to where do you want to go, and how do you think backwards from that, especially in the one place in your business you can control, in operations. And there are so many pieces of a business valuation that is directly tied to operations, and it's just silly if we're just skipping them. Like we can do this. We're smart. We're business owners. We have survived worse things. We got to focus on the things that is going to translate to real value and give us the most options when we're ready to make that decision. Right?
Yeah.
Like, why are we limiting ourselves? That I just can't stand that. So,
and I love your enthusiasm, because the operations are usually the things that when I'm talking, sometimes you just see the eyes glaze over. Right? They have no interest. They're like this.
Yeah.
It's not sexy. So I love your enthusiasm and your passion there.
Yeah.
I can't turn it off. So hopefully that'll come through at the summit, because I'm an operations ninja, and that's what I love to do. And if I can give one little piece of just thinking about your business a little bit differently, and it can translate to real dollars and real opportunities, absolutely, I'm in. Let's have those conversations. And I think that's what I'm most excited for, is it's real business owners talking to other business owners. This isn't a sales pitch. This isn't a, let's get you amped up, and here's how you can change your mentality. Like, no, put the frou-frou away. Let's have real conversations.
Yeah.
Think about the value when it translates to opportunity for what you're going to do with your business. And this is a starting point. Get started. You don't have to do everything. Just do one thing.
That is such a great point. This is not a motivational seminar. This isn't pump yourself up, get your head straight. It's not, none of that stuff. We saw the list of topics yesterday, right? And so when we're talking about things like, what's the state of the M&A market? What are the 10 ways that you can transition your business, and what do you need to know about building that value? How do you build your exit team? how do you put your sales methodology together to increase sales efficiency and effectiveness, right? I mean, like these are all things that every business owner can go, I need a good 45-minute dive into this topic, and this is going to be helpful to me in my business. I love I'm like excited about it. One of my favorite things about the summit is that we have because Jamie Bourne is on.
I know.
Yeah, right. So Jamie's on the committee, or we say the board or whatever, for helping put this all together. And she is a licensed clinical psychologist, and she is going to do a whole dive on. I think she's still working on what in the world they're going to call it, title wise. But it's going to be like, hey, as a business owner, we get our teeth kicked in every day. How's your mental health? Right? Like, how's that going for you? And how do you protect your mental health? Because your mental health, right, to the same with the stress and all of that, spills over to your employees. And if you poison your own well or your own culture, nobody's going to come drink from it, right? You're going to lose good people. You're going to lose good business. And so how do you protect yourself? How do you protect your mental health? What are some strategies? And I think that's going to be really, really beneficial for a lot of people. Mental health is a big topic these days. And I've never been to any kind of conference, business owner related, where that's even a topic.
I haven't either. And I think that's what, like, we see you. We see that you can be struggling, and it's okay.
Yeah.
And here are some tools that you can use. And I also think that it's fabulous because we're limiting the summit to 100 business owners.
Yeah.
And so it's going to be such a nice, intimate setting for them to really be able to get some nuggets that they can personally use for their business. It's not some,
Yeah, you're not in a 1,000-person arena. Yeah.
Yes.
So that's a good point too. Intimate, which means that you're not going to be trapped in a big room. You're going to be able to get your questions answered.
Yes.
Because you're going to be in a room of maybe 20 or 25 other people in these breakout sessions, 30 people maybe, and you can still get real good questions. There's multiple breaks built in for networking and for finding some of us who are panelists and moderators and speakers to be able to say, hey, you just mentioned this. I have a question about that. You're going to have direct access to the people who are helping you, kind of guide through that education of the day. That was my experience in Little Rock. It was nice because you weren't back to back, so you had a few minutes to say, maybe I need to return a phone call, maybe I need to check an email, but more importantly, maybe I don't, and maybe I need to go talk to that person because they said this and I wrote it down, and that means something to me, but I don't know how to do it.
Right.
And so you'll be able to get direct, concise answers, good connections, networking amongst other business owners. I just think it's going to add a lot of value to a lot of people, and that's what excites me about it the most.
Because depending on what statistic you're reading, but over 99% of Arizona businesses are small businesses.
Yeah.
Small businesses. So there is such a need for some information that is really honed down so that it's not on a super high level. It is something that they, like we've talked about, that they can take away from that day and implement into their business.
Yeah, and speaking of transitions, the toughest thing about the fact that we have such a great small business culture here in Arizona, and there's a lot of freedom to have a good business culture here in Arizona, which is part of why I love it. Not to be political, but it was pretty good. But the challenge that we have is that depending on how you're going to try to transition your business, statistically, nationally, less than 30% of current business owners will be able to actually have a successful transition. And depending on what transition method you're trying to go to, sometimes you're going to have to make multiple attempts. And that's scary because that means every time that you go back, that's another, it's 9 to 12 to 15 months to try to monetize the business or sell it. You have to do that multiple times, and you have to keep opening up your books, and there's what's the book? It's, you have to get naked in front of so many people over and over and over and over, and it's exhausting. And every time you do that, it decreases the value of the business because then you just you're You just want to be done, so you just accept whatever you can get, right? So that's a needle that I personally want to move, especially because of my work in financial planning. Is like, if we can help business owners build value, realize that they have a financial asset, not just a business, right? That financial asset has a legacy component, and then it can be monetized. We're literally fundamentally changing not only their lives, but the lives of their employees. And if we do that, it spills over into the community, and the community is healthy, and then we raise up the next generation of business owners, and it's this beautiful thing. So I don't know. That's what I think.
I'm getting really worked up because for having 30%,
Like in a good way?
a little bit
Okay.
of the, I'm not accepting this reality.
I mean, I'll step back.
Really, because how unfair it is for some of the smartest, hardest working people here in Arizona, in America, to not have a fairy tale story.
Yeah.
No, we're not okay with that.
I know.
And
I know. It's not
I'm
good.
getting my screechy voice on. My husband, Jake, is like, calm it down. You're getting worked up.
But part of it, don't you think that they don't realize that they have an asset
Yeah.
that they can monetize? And
Yeah, they just
100%.
they just close. They just shut the door or stop doing the thing.
right.
And my message to business owners is people with less skills, less smarts than you have been able to be successful at this. So what's stopping you?
Uh-huh.
Like, it's you. Get out of your own way. Go learn. Go find the experts to help you through this, because it will only benefit you and your opportunities. And if you can leave a legacy to your family, to your community, be able to actually go to a beach somewhere and hang out and relax and really enjoy everything that you've invested into your business. And maybe that sets you up for your next dream and your next project. But gosh, dang it. Like, you can do this.
Yeah.
You just need the information. And that's why I'm so excited about the summit, is because it's, here's all of the different angles. Here's the things that you need to think about. And frankly, just get out of your own way.
Yeah. It's gonna be
Real talk.
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be great. So if you're a business owner and you're listening to this, or if you're a business leader and you're listening to this, I think either way, I mean, we want business owners in the room, but we want people who are eventually going to transition to the business owners, right? This is good information to be getting ahead of time too. So go to businesstransitionssummit.com, click on the Arizona link. You'll get all the information there. You'll see the board members that are involved. You'll start to see the schedule of events. I know we're working on finalizing that. Every one of us board members has a discount code. So if you get to there and you want to save an extra $100, the early bird pricing is $395. Our discount codes gives you an extra $100. So $295, guys. Like, this is It's ridiculous. Crazy. Yeah. Like, so much value for so little money. It really is, compared to what you're going to get out of it. It's a minor investment. It's a major return. So businesstransitionssummit.com. If you get there, click on any one of our caricatures, which we had a great conversation about before we started taping. Click on any one of our caricatures. It's going to take you to a point where you can email us and say, what's the code? And we will happily give you the code to get your discount. So please do that. But we have Kimberly, smart operations person. Kendi, smart operations person. We have John Kiankio, who is at WealthPoint, which is a local firm. They help with M&A and ESOPs. Like I said, the guy owned a company, went to a publicly traded company, or sold to a publicly traded company, now helps business owners. He's got a wealth of experience. We have Jamie Bourne, great clinical psychologist. We have Corey Bain, great business attorney. I had coffee with her. I don't know if you've had a chance to sit down with her yet.
Yes.
I had coffee with her earlier this week, and I'm just like, I should know that, like legally, but I'm not a lawyer, but that's smart, right? So like that, we have Mark Sutter, who is on the sales acceleration side. So he's led sales teams at some large firms and now helps business owners do it. We have Susie Eric, who is a great banker, great relationship builder, great networker in the Valley, and just smart and fun to be around. And so, did I get everybody? Who am I missing?
You're missing you. So we have Dale Schaefer, founder of Life Moves Wealth, who has wealth of business expertise and
Yes.
personal,
Shucks.
reference from me of you truly understand how to match the business to the personal and make that blend together. and
Yeah.
Which
really
is
set them
so
up for
unique
success.
because
Yeah.
It
usually
is.
financial advisors are only looking at the
Right.
personal, and so that you are blending that in is
Well, and they're usually only looking
service.
at the investments in the insurance.
Oh yeah.
And so, like, if you only do those two things, you're missing like 5 other parts of the 6 if you're a business owner of their financial life. And I'm always like, why? There's so much more happening there. So anyway, that's my plug.
But I do have to give a shout out to you for bringing this talented group of business owners together, right? You have been talking about this for a couple of years now of how do we create education and value to business owners, and for you to really take the charge and lead on this, like no small effort.
No
I
small effort
don't
at
know
all.
how you sleep. You do so many things, and this is really going to be a great event and would not be here without you. So
Well,
huge
thank
thank
you.
you to you.
And we also, we're very fortunate because I wanted to do this, and it would have been very difficult to do it. I had just the small fortune of mentioning this in an advisor coaching call, and that conversation led me to an introduction with Tom Bronson. And Tom in Dallas, Master Partners, he was on the podcast a few episodes ago. Tom has been a part of over 100 business transactions, and the guy knows how to do this stuff. He knows how to educate business owners. And that was the challenge. The reason why he did is because nobody steps in and serves business owners and actually helps them understand how to grow value in their business until they say they're ready to sell, and there's suddenly a bunch of money that a bunch of people can charge fees on. Nobody gets involved before then, right? Financial advisors included. We're the worst offenders, I think, a lot of times, right? Because we like, oh yeah, when you're ready to sell, call me, because then I have some money to manage. And I think that's just, can I?
Please.
It's bullshit. Because it's too late. Right,
Yes,
they need
right.
help long before that. So anyway, so Tom and his team and Kelsey and Kim, they're fantastic, and really, like, we're out here talking about it. They're the ones who are doing all of the heavy lifting, and they're doing a great job with it. So we would not be able to pull it off without them. I can just tell you, at least not at the scale that I think this is going to be. So yeah, there you go. There's everybody's plug.
It's going to be amazing. You
Yeah.
don't want to miss this.
I agree. Yep. Okay. So as we wrap up, I'm going to go Kimberly first or Kendi first.
Pick your poison.
the K's.
Paper, rock, scissors. What are we doing? I know.
Can't even do alphabetical.
I know. Do you know how many? I was writing out the names.
KB.
Yeah. So Kimberly, Kendi, Corey. I'm like, why do we have so many K's? It's like it's
You are
actually.
surrounding yourself with some wonderful, powerful females.
I agree, but I'll tell you, in the alphabet, K is the letter I don't write the best. I don't know why, but like my brain doesn't like to write that letter well. Yeah. It looks.
Oh, it gets funky. Even for mine, that is the one letter. I love the B in Brown. I can have fun with that, but the K just never turns out great.
It's just no offense. It's just
No,
like
but
an
that's-
odd letter. It just for me, I can't write it. Like I don't write it. K's and W's, I don't write smoothly. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, whatever. So, Kimberly, who do you work with? How can people get to you? How can they connect with you after hearing this episode?
I work with small business owners. So if you own a small business, you're looking to launch, you have an existing business, or again, you're looking to transition, I can help with that. And www.flourishbiz.consulting is the website, or my email address, Kimberly@flourishbiz.com or flourishbiz.consulting.
I know. See,
Kendi's giving me that. I'm like, wait.
I know. I was like, how is that different? How is your URL different than your? Wow.
I have been told I'm different, but that's a whole other thing.
That's what makes it special.
Josh is over there like, no.
Even
The webmaster, Josh, is like,
even Josh knows it's wrong.
yeah. Okay. Thank you. And so, give the website one more time and the best contact.
www.flourishbiz.consulting, and Kimberly at flourishbiz.consulting is email.
And Kimberly is spelled
KIMBERLY.
perfect. Thank you, Kendi.
Yeah, so we work with small to big businesses who are looking to grow, right? And not just any business. We're pretty industry agnostic, but what we really care about is who's at the helm and what you're trying to do. I really love working with business owners who have a lot of passion. They have a vision, but they're just at these sticking points where they need to break free of their exoskeleton and be able to get to the next level. If we want to get into specific variables like service-based businesses, locally here in Arizona, I'm an Arizona girl. I want to work with our companies here and directly impact our communities. And so any business owner that is feeling that overwhelm point or if you don't know how to answer the question, when should I hire? Who should I hire? Or should I go build something to be able to reach your goals? You got to talk to me. We've got to have those early conversations because there's a lot of things that you need to do ahead of time before you hit that growth button to make sure that you don't cannibalize all of the great things that you're going to be exposed to. Because like we said, we don't want the dollars falling out of the back of the truck. So that's who I work with, who I focus on, and what I absolutely love to do, all shapes and sizes. But clear vision, a lot of passion, and looking to make an impact.
And how do people reach you?
Yeah. You can always email me. It's kendi@coaticonsultingco.com. And so it's KENDI at COATI consultingco.com. And then my website's coaticonsultingco.com as well.
Yeah.
So drop me a line. Would be thrilled to chat with our business owners here.
Awesome. And if you're listening and you weren't able to write that down, or you weren't sure how Coati is spelled and what even is a Coati anyway, or the Flourish Biz and the consulting, you can always send an email to info@lifemoveswealth.com, and I will point you happily to both of them and let you have the best conversation. So, and of course, as always, any financial questions, how am I running my business financially? How am I running my personal financially? We're going to tie those together, info@lifemoveswealth.com. And in the subject line, just put business owner help, and I'll be happy to talk with you. So I think that's it, ladies. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you, Dale. This is great. And I love the conversation. So appreciate you having us on. Yeah,
fantastic. Okay, that's it for this episode. Until next time, go be financially awesome. See ya. Thanks for listening to this episode. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share. To learn more about your financial purpose, visit lifemoveswealth.com.